Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. We are looking at Bloodborne PC, as I'm sure you're not surprised, but I have removed every shred of baked lighting in the entire game, and I did it in like 20 minutes. And I will go into exactly how I did it later, but I wanted to show what here's the benefits you get of removing all the baked lighting. And also I'll describe what baked lighting is for the uninitiated, which is understandable, as it is for the visual nerds out there. Oh my god, yeah, get my pistol out. What are we doing? Okay, I'm usually very good at parrying, chat. I think you guys all are very much aware. Okay, you know what? I'm usually the best parrier we fucking... Okay, well the Hezi. He has the Hezi. See, 15. Okay, I'm just getting my absolute. Okay, see, that's the attack I like. We all know that. Okay, chat. We're all very aware of that. Anyway, so by removing the baked lighting, there were a ton of areas that were shadowed artificially. Hey, what's up, big dogs? How you doing? All right, we're gonna go this way. See you later. Okay. Not operable. Oh, okay. It's already there. We knew that. We were very much aware of that. Also, recent builds of the emulator. Yeah, performance. Really good. Way more stable. Pretty sick. Yeah, this is probably the biggest difference. So, like, this entire side of the bridge was shadowed. For reasons. Like, that's the thing. It didn't really, like, stand out that it was not meant to be shadowed, but once I removed the baked lighting, I was like, oh shit. Okay. You know what, big dog? You want to come down here? Oh my god, that parry was sick. Yeah, these stairs were completely covered in the baked shadows. And now, with that removed, we actually have light. And you can see shadows from the bridge. Okay, well, you know, okay. Yeah, blood still makes people like really dark and whatnot, so kind of that part's not good, but they're working on it. Okay, so baked shadows. What are baked shadows? Baked shadows are the light map, which is basically just a texture that the game uses, and it paints shadows onto the world. So, like for a stationary object like this lamp, which cannot be destroyed, it does not move, it doesn't sway, it doesn't do anything. There would be a shadow that is painted onto the ground here, similar to what you're seeing here, but just lower quality generally. And yeah, it would just be there. And the reason for doing what I'm doing is that there were a decent number of objects that didn't have shadows painted onto the ground when they baked the lighting, because you basically bake the lighting for the area. And so that's what we're getting by removing that and enabling in a previous video, in a previous mod that I have out, that enabled dynamic shadow casting. And so all of these objects now are casting shadows, and it's really just a shortcut to better quality shadowing. Sometimes I'm messing with the G paramps because you can tell the shadow on my character is pretty low quality, and it's not actually matching where my feet are. So I'm still messing around with the shadow quality because I have to modify that to try to get it to cover as much of the area as possible. And so that can be kind of difficult. But yeah, so now you can see this area actually has light on the ground. The baked shadows were covering essentially the whole thing. Really quickly, we can actually bring up my web browser and go to my Twitter, because I think that'll be quicker. I did a bunch of screenshots. Of course, we'll go back in game. Don't you worry about that. Ooh, yeah, we got to go there. Yeah, I did a lot of cool. Okay. Aha, see, here's a good example. So this is, I had already removed the baked lighting on the ground here. And if we go to the full screenshot. So I had already removed the baked lighting from the ground, so that's why you were getting actual light here. But the building here had its shadow or light map still on it. So I then went in to remove that, so then you can naturally get light that should hit it, and then the dynamic shadows would show up, because these were set to cast shadows, the whole building here. And so once you remove the baked lighting, you'll then get the shadow that's cast from these little head-looking things, and then you get the shadow that's coming off this, hitting the door. These were all occluded by the baked lighting, right? So that's essentially the reason for removing it. So here was the original example. So this is what the baked lighting setup was. And you can tell that like the boxes here were receiving light. You could see that the enemy here was receiving light, and the player as well. But the actual environment was all darkened by shadow casting, right? Or light map. It's the fake shadows. And then the light was over here. And so I basically went in and I removed that. Didn't do it from this building here yet. That was in the later screenshot. And booyah! Now you have light coming in and actually hitting this, and all the dynamic shadows are essentially shown now. And yeah, I think it looks better. So that's the main reason for doing it, is there's a bunch of shadows that could not be seen before that now you can see. And there's a lot of issues that have come with that that I have to go over. I also fixed, there was this area that is shadowed, but naturally you're getting the light that's hitting through the bridge here. And then you'll see it ends right here. And then the player, you know, obviously gets the nice little cinematic moment of walking out into the shade. But this is the benefit you get. The actual like railings here from the bridge up here is now reflected down here, because mainly the dynamic shadowing that I enabled prior, but now that I've removed the baked lighting, you actually get to see this. It's crazy. And I think it looks really good. Not everything looks good with the baked shadow, or the dynamic shadows. Oh my god. Homie. I absolutely forgot about you. Yeah, there's still some issues. You can see the shadow cascades here. Like as you're walking, like that, I'm not going to be able to like 100% solve. But there's something going on. I think I have to. There's a hole there in the shadowing, and so that's what I found with a lot of the game world. Is it was never meant for the baked lighting to be removed, obviously, because baked lighting is very standard. Baked lighting is the standard in the game industry for a lot of games, because it's obviously smarter and more performant and more visually stable, because it can just be painted onto the ground. But you're going to miss out on certain objects having shadows and some that aren't. Now, if you bake your lighting super well and at a high resolution, then that's better than what I'm doing here. But basically, Bloodborne did not, and the FromSoft games did not. Their baked lighting was kind of crappy, and so the dynamic shadows is just really my shortcut to more accurate lighting. And so yeah, okay, so we get shadows on that. Now the thing I was gonna get to is the no, yeah, I wanted to head this way because this is actually where it gets like really beautiful looking. Uh-oh, we had a vertex explosion. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, you'll see how much natural light is in the environment, and you can always see the player's shadow, whereas with the baked lighting, it was covering up a lot of the dynamic shadows. We're also going to go to the Forbidden Woods. Uh-oh. We may have crashed. No, we're still cooking. Oh my god, it was calculating something. Okay, it's calculating big stuff. Big stuff. Okay, emulator does this every once in a while. Okay, it's picking up. It's picking up. Alright, we're back. We're back to 30. Yeah, it's still not handling this material correctly. Oh, yeah, just look how the shadows are hitting all of these objects. Oh, so yeah, that's the thing you'll notice about that last screenshot, where I removed it, but the objects were already showing the light. That's because they, of course, as interactable items, they do not use a light map in that way because it wouldn't make sense, right? Because it's an interactable item that can be destroyed, so you can't use a static light map on it, because that's just gonna look fucking awful when you try to destroy it and it's still shadowed the whole time. So that's why those are sort of your indicator, at least for me. Before, when I was removing baked lighting in different methods, that's how I knew to remove baked lighting somewhere, because I was like, oh shit, okay, so the player is receiving light or is receiving dynamic shadows, but I can't see any of them on the ground because the baked lighting is just completely hiding that. Let's see if I can get past these guys. Alright. Hey! Dunzo. Alright, I'm gonna go to Cleric Beast, because that's where a lamp is already at. Okay, thank you. So yeah, I had to modify the shadow settings manually in the G params for each map to push out the shadow render distance, the fade distance, the depth setting. I had to tweak that quite a bit. And so I'm still working on that. It's all work in progress. So one example that I think is probably the best one is like Forbidden Woods, because that's an area where I turned on dynamic shadowing and you really couldn't see a lot of the dynamic shadows at all. They were there because they were hitting the player. Also, I did remove the baked lighting from the Hunter's Dream, and so now you can see all of the dynamic shadows being cast onto the environment. And it's kind of a little too dark in certain places, so I can mess with the shadow color, because you can actually set not like an RGB value, but whatever the other value type is, and I can mess with the shadow color setting a little bit. But yeah, really cool. So now you get all the shadows on the environment. Once again, you couldn't see because the baked shadows were they bathed everything in darkness. And this is something that DS3 did, DS1 did. FromSoft has consistently done this, where they will just cover more things in shadow than technically is represented with where the shadow X and Y coordinates are, if that makes sense. Let's try going to Forbidden Woods. This is on a really new build of the emulator that I just downloaded, so super smart for making a video, right? But we'll see if we can warp. Because I have a more like stable build. It's just not as good on performance, but all right. So we're in Forbidden Woods, and as you can tell already, you can see the dynamic shadow from the character on the ground, which in the base game was about the only dynamic shadow you had aside from like barrels and crates. But yeah, now you see the dynamic shadow from the bridge, and even like this little lamp. Oh, you bitch. Okay, what if I get the thingy to come down? Oh my god! Oh, got him! Sorry, I got a little excited there. You missed me, big dog? Crazy. Yeah, see? More foliage shadows. Forbidden Woods has like the most shadow casting because of how many different trees and limbs and leaves and just foliage galore. And so now you get this really beautiful shadow casting all over Forbidden Woods. Where before it was literally just hitting the player. Once I enabled the shadow casting, you could see all of the shadows. Oh my god, vertex explosion! That's my bad. That still happens in the emulator, don't worry about it. You quit out, you come back. The vertex is now back in my head. I've been granted eyes, don't worry about it. But yeah, you could see all the shadows that were being cast from the environment hitting my character, but you just couldn't see shit on the ground. You couldn't see any of the shadows like represented, and now in Forbidden Woods you can actually walk, and your dynamic shadow will be cast from the character, and you have light coming in, but we can now see all of those shadows, not just where the light map was basically allowing you to see those. And so now you just get a much better approximation of like where they should be and how they look. And so, oh, yeah, look at this dynamic shadow. Look at these foliage shadows. Like, they're not super high res, but in the G params, I did find obviously like a shadow resolution setting Unfortunately, I've changed it, and it really didn't change the shadow map resolution, which is a shame. I'm assuming it's probably set at 2K resolution. Very dark indoors. Very dark indoors. We don't have the player light yet, and I don't have SFX enabled because they kind of are still busted, so, you know, don't worry about that. But yeah, after modifying the shadow settings, because by default, the shadow settings, oh my god. And it's understandable because they were not set up to cast on the entire world. Like, that is just absolutely not what they were intended for originally. And so I'm pushing it to their limits. But the default, like, G-Param setup for the shadows, dude, they faded so fast, it looked so bad. So I did have to tweak them to where now you get them at a much greater distance, and it just looks so much better than it did. But yeah, Forbidden Woods honestly looks fucking sick. Let's see if we can hit. Let's do our Hunter's Mark. Where else should we go? Yarhargul, I have been tweaking. So the issue with that, removing all baked lighting, one of the biggest issues for oh god, okay, I have some shit coming out of my head again. One of the biggest issues you have, or that I've come across, and I expected it, is indoors, you would have light just oh my god, okay. Whoa, vertex explosion. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. Yeah, let's go fix something real quick. Before we go to Yarhargul, let's go to Cathedral Ward, and I will show you the issue I'm talking about. And I'll show you exactly how I fix it. And the last thing, in chat, you have to remind me of this. And I know this isn't possible without time travel. But you have to remind me the last thing I need to go over is how I remove the baked lighting. Okay, well, you know, I don't need the vertex explosion. Because I'm kind of proud of how stupid the solution for removing the baked lighting was in 20 minutes for the whole game. Kind of crazy. Okay, yeah, Cathedral Ward is like the longest load time. Oh my Jesus motherfucking Christ. Okay. We're just going to quit out. We're just going to quit out. I'm going to keep all this in because I think it's funny. Smith Box, newest. Okay, let's launch this. Let's go back. And I promise you, this might be worth it. But essentially, it's light coming into interior spaces that normally shouldn't happen because there's shadow casting, and so you're in an inside space. So those walls of the interior space should be blocking the sun from reaching inside, right? That's pretty standard. Oh, is that the blood splatter? That is the blood splatter. Okay. Oop, no, not that way. Okay, let's go through the doors, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, so currently there's an issue in this room where the sunlight is hitting the roof, and I don't fully know why. So I'll be able to fix that. But let's go down to here. This is a sewer area that I specifically did not fix. So here's what I've been going through and fixing one by one. You'll also notice the player is receiving like sunlight while I'm in here. So here's what we need to do. We need to log out. We know the room that we're in. Okay, we know the room that we're in. We quit out. We go to Smith Box. We load up Central Yarnum. Oh god. Okay, it's lagging. It's lagging big time. And then we need to load up the area that we were in, which was this room on our way to Cathedral Ward. Go down the ladder. And now we are in the sewers, which is having the light leak issue, like right over here. And we can see it's 7340. That is the map piece. And so now we go to our Bloodborne game folder. We go to map. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Wrong one. Right one. I have a backup folder of Bloodborne, so I can always put everything back if I need to. So we go to DVD root _ PS4 map. And then we know that Central Yarnum is 24_01. So we go 24_01. This is where all our Fiverr models are stored. We go down to 7340, which you can see all the model names are right there, model numbers. And we go 7340. And we have a .fiver.dcx. So what we need to do to fix the model is to stop it from culling the back faces. So essentially, if we zoom out here, you can tell, you can basically see through this back part of the model. That's what's happening. So the sun is just flying through the back because there's no ass on this model. That's how you can kind of think of it. So 7340, we need to crack that bad boy open with witchy BND, and it's going to process it and chuck it into 7340.5er, no DCX. We crack that bad baby open, bad baby, bad boy. I meant both, it's fine. So this is the old Fiver editor, and I'll open it in the standard one, that when we don't use witchy BND, just on the standard DCX. This is the newer Fiver editor. Technically, you can do the same thing in both. However, I have found it a lot easier to do in the older program, which is kind of weird, but it's the one thing that I found still easier in the old program. So you go to Mesh, and this is where it shows all the different mesh indicators for the different surfaces, because they're obviously made up of a lot of multiple ones, right? And so you hit check, and it says cull back face is true, okay? Which means it is culling the back faces. So we check each one, and it says true. And this one says false, so this surface is already not. However, we're gonna actually still swap it. So it is culling the back faces. Stick with me. Stick with me. This might not make sense in the short term. Okay, so now they are all saying true. And then we hit the TBF all button, and it flips all of them to false. So basically it needs to have all of them say true, so then I can hit that button, and it's quicker than just going one by one and going switch, 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 switch. So it's just quicker that way. Then you hit modify, and it will now turn the back faces on. We then shove it back into the 7340.fiver.dcx. It's now done that. And now we can launch our game again, and theoretically most of it should be fixed. And the shadows should now be correctly hitting the back side of that model and not coming into the room. Maybe. Fucking maybe. Oh, baby. Look at that. We fixed it. Chat, although there's something weird going on with the planar reflections, that might be an emulator thing. Don't worry about that. Anyway, the sunlight that was coming in here earlier is now not. And it's sick, and it's very cool. So I would appreciate a nice clap moment, a golf clap, or like a Jeb Bush, please clap. Oh yeah, so here's another thing. So I think we have an issue here. Maybe. Or wait, was I thinking of a different spot? I think I was thinking of a different spot. So this looks fine. Alright, let's run this way. Because I think I found an area where we had another backface problem. So let's run this way. Okay, this looks good. Is it down here? No, this looks fine. Interesting. Oh my god, he got hit by his own boulder? That's just embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. How dare you push your own boulder and then you get hit by it. Unbelievable. Oh my. Oh. Okay, guys. Joke's on you, I have a +10 weapon. God, you guys still took like 2 hits though? Okay, yeah, please open this up. So yeah, what I did on that one model, I've had to do to like a lot of models. That's what I was working on yesterday. I was going through all the models and manually fixing them. Super fun. I mean, for me, super fun, right? Let's go up here. I swear to God, I saw something that looked fucky. Like another backface problem. I probably forgot where it is, though. Which is fine. Yeah, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. No, that looks fine. Up here. Alright. Yeah, who fucking knows? I don't know. It's somewhere. I'll find it later. Originally it was up here. There was a problem where there was no shadows being cast here. And it was actually from the bridge. I had to fix the back faces on the bridge because it was actually rendering like the outline of the bridge as a shadow. And now you get the correct shadow after I once again fixed the back faces. I'm only going to say back face like 500 times. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was looking for. You know what? It's close enough. We got it. So how did I remove the baked lighting in like 20 minutes? Because that's interesting. And I'm really surprised that it fucking worked at all. Let's pop down here. And I'm going to kill this guy. And then I'm going to quit out. Alright. So here are our options for removing baked lighting. Originally, in my mind. So, two methods I've learned, and this is applicable to the other Souls games. So essentially what you can do is you can open up the model, each model, one by one. And let's say we wanted to open up 136. God knows what that model is. Oh, it's a cloth. Look at that. You go to materials, and you see under textures, you can see the G_DOL texture. These are the light maps because they have GI, so global illumination, and yeah, so basically that's your light map. And in the MTD setting here, the _L represents the light map. So a quick way to essentially disable it from being used without doing anything else is to just remove the _L from this specific MTD. And now this one surface, these little, which is now highlighted, that will not use a light map. Here's the problem though. So on this other surface, which is the main part, it uses MARSN_L blend and then A for albedo. And if you remove the L from that, that doesn't exist. There isn't an MTD that exists like that. So you'll crash the game. And if you try to switch this to a different blend MTD listing or ID that doesn't have the light map, it will actually not look correct because it was very specifically set up to have this blend and then the brackets A. So it had a very specific setting, and there wasn't a light map free equivalent of that MTD, if that makes sense, because they have different MTDs for all types of things where they blend textures. They have one specifically for wet and metal, and there's all kinds of cool things. Your base one is the MARSN, which is actually the same one used in DS3. They have very similar material setups. And so I knew very quickly that was not going to be a good approach, because it would also take like 100 years, right, to go through every model and change every line to remove the light map that way. Unbelievable. So that would just take forever. Here's your other option. If you wanted to remove the baked lighting from 136 specifically, here's what you could do. So let's go open. Okay, so here's our backup Bloodborne folder that includes our original files. So we go to map, and we go to the texture folder for Central Yharnam, Cathedral Ward, and Upper Cathedral Ward, which is M24. So we go to M24. Inside here, you're going to see the GI_INV M24. That is where they store the light maps. And so what we do is we actually crack this bad boy, not bad baby. Now you'll notice the actual light map folder is 1.1 gigabytes. That's how much is taken up by light maps for those three maps together because they're sandwiched. You have one entire gigabyte is stored by that. So by let's pop in here, and we're looking for 136, right? So let's move this over, and you'll see here they list them by the actual name. Ooh, is this not in order? That's 2402. Oh, that's starting at 400. What the fuck? Oh, maybe it's in the other one. It might be in the other one. So there, 20. Yeah, M24 is weird because it actually has two separate ones. It has M24_01. So let's actually crack that one open. Yeah, okay. So this one has some extras from Central Yarnum. Why? Don't know. Don't know. Don't know why they created a separate little one. Anyway, so now you'll see all the ones for model 136 are right here. And you'll see the _L is for low quality. So we can avoid that. Because as far as I can tell, the game never uses it. So I don't know why they did low quality variants of every texture. For reasons, I guess. Anyway, we crack them open. Here's the 4 light map folder, or 4 light map textures. And this is what the light map looks like. That is it. That's what the light map texture looks like. And then there's this other one, which I don't 100% know exactly what that is doing. And so here's the other one. And if we wanted to clear that, here's how you do it. So you basically ignore those other two. Ignore the _01. And if you want to remove the baked lighting, you can essentially, you basically bleach the texture and you paint it white. And then this is what I did for DS1, I figured out. And you save it as BC7, because they use BC7 for their light maps, where they use BC1 for basically everything else, which is a shame. BC7 is better. Had they used BC7 for their textures, it would have been better off. But anyway, they use BC7. You save that, and actually, let's actually save it for once. Okay. And then boom, it's white. And then you repack that, pop it back in the game, and now the baked lighting will be removed. Is it ideal? No. It also brightens the texture. So what I found for some of them is you actually needed to go a little bit gray, and then that would match better. Because the best method was turning off the light map. That was just the best way of doing it. But here's what I found. So here, if you've stuck with me this entire time, here's how I did it in like 20 minutes. I removed all the baked lighting in the game in 20 minutes. And what I did, and I know this is going to sound really fucking stupid, and that's because it is. It is genuinely stupid that it worked at all. So what you do, we have our baked lighting here. And what we do is we select all, and we hit delete. And it's going to take a while because there's a lot of files in this. But let it delete the stuff. It has to count everything. This is how many things I would have had to modify. Well, I mean, not completely, about half that, because you avoid a lot of the ones in between. But yeah, over 1 gigabyte's worth of textures. And I'm just going to fucking delete them. Okay, it's kind of taking a while, but I got to drink my coffee, so if you guys want to watch this loading bar, it's super interesting. This is a really good way to show, though, how much work it would have been. It would have been impossible. I noticed very quickly I ruled that shit out. Because I could do the light maps in DS1, because I manually went through there and removed or bleached the light maps in all of DS1 where necessary. And that's because their setup was a lot easier. Here, they're using a more complex system with more multi-textures per thing. And like DS1, they had like one light map texture. And you just bleach that, boom, move on. And they also had less models because it was more simplistic, right? And earlier. And so it was just a lot easier and manageable. Here, there's too many goddamn textures. Okay, we deleted them, but we're not done. So now we need to open up our witchy file. And because it's still thinking when we repack this, it's going to go, oh shit, we need these files. So basically you go in here and you tell it, I'm going to delete every goddamn file you have. I'm going to tell you you don't need these files. So basically you shift click, delete, delete. And now the witchy file that tells what to repack it as has absolutely no files. And so now it will repack 0 files. And now you might be wondering, why would you do this? Couldn't you just delete this actual like file. Yes, that is true. You could just delete them and the game would still launch. However, I wanted to put it as like a mod for people, so they didn't have to go in manually and delete them themselves. Like they'd have to go in here and select these two and actually hit delete and delete them, and then do that for every folder for every map. So what I did, that's why I'm doing it my method, where I delete them manually. I set up the new file. So here's an example. So now that I've deleted it, I've edited the witchy file, I repack it. And so what you're going to notice is here's the backup file. So this is the backup file where it's 1.1 gigabytes for the actual textures. And then the BHD file controls the BDT file. It's the whole thing. Don't worry about it. And then the new file, it's really funny because the new file is 1 kilobyte for both. So we've now saved that much storage and video memory. To be fair, like as you're going through the game, your GPU is not going to have as many textures in the VRAM. Is it going to be massive? No, but it's something. There's definitely going to be less VRAM usage. That's one benefit to this. And so yeah, basically now when I release this mod, people will be able to copy this into their Bloodborne folder, and it will automatically overwrite the previous baked lighting files. And there's nothing else they have to do. They don't have to go in and manually delete them. So basically, I did that through every folder, which is M21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And I did it through 32, 33, 35, and that includes all areas of the game. And so now, not only is your Bloodborne installation smaller, if you delete the backups technically, oh, sorry, I hit the microphone, and you don't have baked lighting anymore. But now I have to go through and fix a lot of the interior models and go through the game and fix the backface problems to get all these really accurate dynamic shadows working and interiors working. So hopefully this was mildly interesting. That was a long way of saying that I've now added, I've removed all the baked lighting, which goes hand in hand with my dynamic shadows I added. So pretty cool. Let me know if you thought it was cool and if the explanation made any sense. And I need to drink water because my voice is sounding a little bit worse because I was so excited to talk about this. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.